All right, well, before I get started, as always, please remember this is not financial advice. This is just my opinion for entertainment purposes only. So please do all of your own research before buying or selling anything you see in my videos. But with that being said, I do have a Patreon group, and it is only $10 a month. So if you want to know what we are buying and selling, in real time, that link is down there in the description. And if you don't mind liking the smash button, that helps out the channel immensely, I'm told, or at least that's what other people say, even though it doesn't seem like it's helping out mine very much. But I appreciate it nonetheless if you do that. But let's get into these market averages first, just because, I thought there was a pretty significant thing that happened today. It doesn't really give me a whole lot to go on as far as tomorrow or the next day, but once these type of things start to happen in the market, I take notice. And first thing I'm going to start off with is the QQQ, and this is the daily chart, and the QQQ, of course, is the NASDAQ ETF. And, we're having a little bit of an indecision day. It's a pretty wide-ranging doji, but the market started gapping up and then, just kind of rolled over. Let's go to the minute chart. And, I stepped away from the market just as it was starting to turn. Man, I think I might have been watching it right around 11 or a little after 11, man. But if I would have seen this little, acceleration to the downside, I probably would have been trying to play it as far as a bounce goes. Looking at the MACD indicator, I don't have it up on the chart right here, but there wasn't a whole heck of a lot going on as far as a divergence. So it would have been more of, a little bit of guesswork, just, trying to see how the market action was shaping out before I got in. But these things are definitely very playable bottoms. Once you really start to see it accelerate, not only does it happen with the QQQs, but it happens with all kinds of stocks. If I'm lucky enough to be looking at it while one of these things are happening, I almost try to play that bounce every single time. But just looking at the QQQ, when I see something like this after several days up, this tells me, or at least it makes me think that this is a warning shot across the bow. And I think this is like big money trying to, sell a bunch of their stock real quick, and then they kind of stop to see how the market absorbs it. But I think they're trying to unwind out of some of their bigger positions because, big rollovers like this, when there really isn't a whole heck of a lot of news going on during the day, it's usually just, smart money trying to sell out of some big positions. And once you see a couple of these in a row, you usually end up getting some more movement to the downside. So I'm actually watching the market pretty closely. We can see that the market is starting to wedge up a little bit, so we're going to have to see how this plays out. Normally, you usually get some continuation or more continuation in the direction that it started. That could happen, that might not happen with the Qs. But let's go back to the daily chart. And let's actually jump over to the spider, because this is another confusing thing, because the S&P 500 was breaking out to all-time highs. So we're getting some mixed signals, and it is holding that all-time high, even though it kind of rolled over a little bit like the Qs and like some of the other things in the market did. It is holding on to these new highs. So of course, there's nothing more bullish than new all-time highs. So a little bit confusing on the spider. And if we go over to the Dow, you can see the Dow is actually rebounding very nicely. The Dow has been the weakest of the bunch, and this thing is rebounding and headed up towards that 8-period exponential moving average. So it's going to be interesting to see if we can get past that on the diamonds. And if we go to the IWM, which has been weak, it's making a huge doji as well. Once these stocks start to pull back like this, they kind of get caught in the pressure cooker. Like they're like in between major moving averages, and they're kind of bouncing around. That's why I love it when they're above all of these moving averages. So, there's really less obstacles in the way of the stock when it starts to move up. But if you back out of this, you can see we have pulled back to this consolidation level. It's trying to get back above it. It's finding some resistance at the 21-period exponential moving average right now, and earlier in the day it got all the way up to the 8-period and immediately reversed. So these moving averages are very important, and just to show you how important it is, let's go jump over to the weekly real quick. And if I zoom in, You can see this move down in the IWM came all the way down to the 8-period exponential moving average on the weekly chart and then reverse. So that's why when you get in between all of these moving averages, there can be a lot of chop going on, and it's very difficult to play. Once the IWM can get above all of these moving averages, can get above, say, 236 and a quarter, I think the IWM is going to be in good shape. So that's what I'm going to be looking for. Now let's get into the trade that I made on the day, and then we'll get into some of the other sectors that I am seeing some interesting charts in. All right, so the only trade I made today was on Taiwan Semiconductor, ticker symbol TSM, and this was actually brought to my attention by Dot from the Patreon. So shout out to the Dot for showing me this one. I appreciate the help. All of the stocks that I was looking at for a potential day trade this morning, they just didn't pan out. They didn't, end up, breaking above that 15-minute high. So there was nothing there, and the Dot told me about Taiwan Semiconductor. I looked at it and I saw that it was breaking out, so I ended up taking a trade in this one. This one wasn't an explosive breakout, so the profit wasn't as big as it would be on one of those normal breakouts that I like to play. But hey, some money is better than no money, and in a regular market environment, I would be buying this stock and just holding on to it. I'd place my stop loss below that 8-period exponential moving average and just hope that this breakout ends up being one that follows through, because this is a beautiful looking chart pattern right here, and Taiwan Semiconductor is one of the stronger semis out there, so not a bad one to be buying for a potential longer term trade. But like I was saying before, I just don't feel comfortable buying any of these stocks and holding on to them too long. There's just way too much chop going on. But let's go to the 5-minute chart, and I'll show you the trade that I made in a Taiwan Semiconductor. I might even have to go to the minute chart. Let's go to the minute chart. Let's see if I can situate it a little bit better. Back it up here. But, this is the area where I would normally like to be buying that original breakout. But unfortunately, I didn't hear about this stock until it was already extended. But this was just a beautiful breakout. I mean, backing this thing out, you can see we got a nice long base breakout right here following that 8-period exponential moving average up. You could buy it on this little break of this high as long as it's still holding above that 8-period exponential moving average, and then just ride it up. But that's not the trade that I made, so this is the one that I made. I ended up buying it when it broke above this little bullish triangle formation that it was making right here. I ended up buying it, let me see my notes here, at 127.05. I put in my order at 127.01, but it just executed at 127.05, and I ended up selling it at 127.94, so right up here. It ended up breaking through 128, but then it kind of found some resistance, and it rolled over. So it wasn't a huge gainer, but, in this type of market, I'll just take any day trade I can get right now, and, TSM ended up rolling over. I think it's starting to stabilize right now. It's heading up just a little bit, but I wouldn't be a bit surprised if TSM, ends up holding this breakout. Man, like I said, if this wasn't such a choppy environment, this is just a beautiful, beautiful breakout pattern to be buying. The one that I actually had it narrowed down to was ASTR. This one is the one that I thought I was going to end up buying, but, just never signaled. If we go to let's go to the 5-minute chart and take a look at it. You can see this was 10 minutes in, this was 15 minutes in, so any break above this area right here was going to be my signal to get in. And actually, when it came up to this candle right here and made it all the way up to about $13.50, I had my order set at $13.61. I thought it was going to stop me in, but it just reversed and then just ended up rolling over. So that one I never signaled. This was the only one that actually got close that I was watching. So if the Dot wouldn't have told me about the other one, I probably would have had a big goose egg today. Now, one other trade that I did make that, I don't really talk about these ones too much. I was just selling some premium on Palantir. I sold the $19 put just because Palantir was rolling over. I didn't collect a whole lot of premium, but if Palantir ends up dropping below 19 I'll have to take possession of those shares unless I get rid of those puts. But you know what? If Palantir drops below 19, I'll just take those shares. I don't mind owning some more Palantir under $20 a share. And if it doesn't fall below 19, I get to keep the premium, and I'll just keep watching Palantir. But those were the moves that I actually made today. Didn't really make a whole heck of a lot, but I live to fight another day. And if we get some more clear-cut signals, I'll look to make those trades tomorrow or the next day. All right, now I did have a question, and that was from Medicole, and Medicole was asking about ENDP, Endo International. And this one has been a high flyer. I've actually traded it a couple times over this run up. One was a very nice profit, one was a very small loss, and I ended up getting stopped out right about here, right before it exploded higher. So not only was that loss small, but it was painful because that thing just turned around and exploded. But looking at the current price action, let's zoom in a little bit here, and what I see going on with ENDP is a little bit of a rounded top formation. You can see we've got a bunch of these little topping tails going on, and that was followed by some downward price action. But right now we got a big reversal going on. We got a nice bullish hammer. There's still some time left in the trading day, but if it ends in this range, that is a bullish candle. And of course, I never ever make a trade based on only one candle. There has to be at least a combination of them and then another factor. But what was one mistake I did when I first started trading is I would just make trading decisions on one candle, and just didn't seem like it panned out very well over the long term. But one candle is better than none, and if we get some more follow through to this bullish hammer formation, we can see that it is finding some resistance right at that 8-period exponential moving average. So that is exactly what we need to get over. And if it does get over that tomorrow, I think that could be the end of this rounded top formation. This could be the little false breakdown that you need for that reversal in trend. And then, of course, the next thing you're watching for is a clean break above $7. And if you get that, that could be starting the next move up. But if you go to the 15-minute chart and we back it out a little bit, you can see that rounded top formation a little bit clearer. This could be the false breakdown coming in the, in that bullish hammer. And then the move above 638, and of course the move above $7 is what I would be interested in. And I think if we get a move above $7, ENDP could be off to the races again. This is still a very healthy looking pattern, especially on the daily chart. This could be just a very healthy little pullback, and then a break above 7 could be the start of the next move up. So this one is still on my watch list, but that's the level that I need to be a buyer of. But today's candle is very constructive, so definitely going to be keeping a closer eye on ENDP. Medical, if that was good enough for you, no need to do anything. But if you had any other specific questions, feel free to leave them in the comment section, and I don't mind addressing them. And before I close out the video, I do want to talk about the oil sector real quick, because that is about the only thing that I am seeing some strength in. Now, like in this type of market that we're in, you'll see strength one day and then the next day it'll be down. So I'm not taking a whole lot into it. But if the overall market does turn down, I think the oil sector could be a sector that ends up, turning around and moving up. So this is one sector I'm definitely going to be looking at if the overall market tends to get weak. And another of these ETFs that I look at, this is the USO, by the way. This is just the price of oil. And another one that I look at is the XOP. And you can see the XOP, the oil and gas exploration ETF, is having a very nice reversal day, and it's fighting with that 50-period simple moving average, and it looks like it's going to get above it. So this might be the end of the pullback in the XOP. So if the XOP gets some follow through and the overall market, tends to roll over, this is probably going to be one sector that I'm going to be looking at for some strength. And just looking at some of the stocks in this sector, this is one that I own, CNQ. You can see Canadian Natural is having a very nice reversal off the 50-period simple moving average as well. Another one in this sector looking pretty good is PXD, having a very nice reversal. So you can see a lot of strength really starting to appear in a lot of these charts. FANG is another one. You can see FANG is having a nice reversal. The CCP. CCP, is that right? Or no, did I write that down wrong? I must have. Let's go to Devon Energy. Let's pretend that I know how to spell. And the next one is Devon Energy. And Devon Energy having a nice reversal. Occidental Petroleum. Wonder what CCP is. That's Chinese Communist Party. I wonder what I was trying to write there. But anyway, Oxy's looking really good. Another one, ExxonMobil having a very nice bullish engulfing reversal. CVX, Chevron looking good as well, but this is the only real sector that I'm seeing some strength in. So if we do have some weakness in the overall market, I'm going to look to the oil sector for some strength to take some trades. Okay, everyone, that is all I have for this video, so I'm going to end it right there. But if you have any questions or comments on any of these stocks, or if you have any other ones you want me to take a look at, please leave it down there in the comments section. I will get to them as soon as I can. If you enjoyed the video, please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Thank you so much for watching my video all the way to the end, and until next time, take care, everybody.